Hello, 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 and welcome back to the AI Cafe Conversations. This is Sahar and Radi, your AI whisperer. This is the conversation we usually have behind closed doors after the PowerPoint decks are put away and maybe some wine is poured. When you operate at the top 1%, you stop looking at the software and start looking at the human architecture. And you see patterns and comfortable patterns that predict success or failure before we even start. Today I'm sharing what I have learned working with the top 1% of AI organizations. The mirror effect that exposes what's broken. The unspoken truth about middle management that terrifies executives. The post-labor enterprise story that still gives me chills. And the one truth that changes everything. Why intelligence is no longer the competitive advantage and what replaced it. This is the definitive episode. The patterns, the truth, the choice. Let's go. Here is the most surprising pattern I see. AI is a diagnostic tool for organizational dysfunction. Executives hire me to integrate AI. But within 3 weeks, the project reveals something else entirely. Their processes? It's a tangled mess of tribal knowledge and manual workarounds. Their decision making? Inconsistent, undocumented, based on we have always done it this way. AI doesn't just automate tasks, it exposes how broken your organization actually is, or not. And here is the unspoken truth that most executives are terrified to realize. 40% of their middle management exists solely to move data from one spreadsheet to another. Let me say that again. 40% of middle management is information brokerage that adds zero value. They don't make decisions. They don't create strategies. They don't build relationships. They copy numbers from system A to system B. They forward emails. They schedule meetings where nothing gets decided. AI doesn't just automate those tasks, it makes those roles obsolete overnight. And when executives see that, when they realize what they have been paying for, that's when the real transformation conversation begins. Not how do we deploy AI, but how do we rebuild our organization for a world where information brokerage is free. Let me tell you about a transformation that still haunts me. I worked with a legacy global 500 logistic firm. They moved to what I call a fully agentic core. They replaced their entire procurement department with a swarm of autonomous agents. These agents could negotiate, verify ESG compliance, execute smart contracts, all without a human clicking approve. Here is what gives me chills though. The office went from a buzzing hive of 200 people to a room of 12 orchestrators. 200 people down to 12. The company's throughput increased by 300%. Costs dropped by 60%. Compliance improved. But the soul of the company changed overnight. I walked into that office 6 months after deployment, and it felt like a library, quiet, efficient, empty. It was the first time I saw a post-labor enterprise in the wild. It was beautiful, it was efficient, and it was deeply eerie. This is what AI makes possible. Not just automation, transformation. The question is, are you ready for what that actually looks like? So here is where the story shifts though. Because all of this, the mirror effect, the middle management exposure, the post-labor enterprise. It all points to one truth. In 2026, the competitive advantage is no longer intelligence. Think about it. In 2020, if you wanted advanced intelligence, the ability to analyze complex data, generate insights, write sophisticated reports, you needed to hire PhDs. Expensive, scarce, competitive advantage. In 2026, you buy it by the token. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, $20 a month gets you intelligence that rivals what most knowledge workers produce. These models can analyze financial statement, write legal contracts, generate marketing strategies, debug code, translate languages, summarize research, all at a level that was considered expert just 5 years ago. Intelligence is no longer scarce. It's abundant. It's cheap. It's commoditized. So if everyone has access to the same intelligence, what's your competitive advantage? Not the intelligence itself. The competitive advantage is how you use that intelligence. And that requires something most organizations don't have: institutional logic. So what is institutional logic? Institutional logic is your organization's ability to clearly define how you make decisions. Not just what you decide, but how you decide it. Let me give you an example. Let's say you are approving a new vendor contract. In most organizations, someone submits a request, it goes to a manager who evaluates it, whatever that means. If it's over $1 threshold, it goes to a director who reviews it, whatever that means. Eventually, someone approves it or doesn't. But if I ask, what criteria are you using? The answer is usually, well, it depends. That's not institutional logic. That's institutional chaos. Now contrast that with an organization that has institutional logic. Here is our vendor approval process. Step number 1. Does the vendor meet ESG compliance? Yes or no? Step 2. Is pricing within 10% of market rate? Yes or no? Step 3. Has the vendor completed 3 or more similar projects? Yes or no? Step 4. Does the contract include our standard liability clauses? Yes or no? All 4 yes, approve. Any no, escalate to director with specific justification. That is institutional logic. You can describe your decision-making process in a logical flowchart. And here is why this matters for AI. If you have institutional logic, an AI can help you. It can automate steps 1 to 4. It can flag exceptions. It can execute approvals. But if you don't have institutional logic, if your process is, it depends, and ask Gary, AI can't help you. Because AI needs logic. It needs rules. It needs a process. And if you can't describe your process, the AI cannot execute it. AI doesn't fix a broken process. It just breaks it faster. So here is the hard truth. Most organizations don't have institutional logic because for decades, you could succeed without it. You could have chaotic processes as long as you had smart people navigating the chaos. Gary knows the workaround. Susan has the spreadsheet. The VP remembers what we did the last time. But AI changes the equation. AI exposes the chaos. Remember the mirror effect I talked about before? When you try to automate a process that doesn't actually exist, you realize the following. We don't have institutional logic, we have institutional memory. Institutional memory is Gary knows how to do it. Institutional logic is here is the documented process anyone, including an AI, can follow. Institutional memory breaks when Gary retires. Institutional logic scales. So why don't most organizations have institutional logic? We saw that happening around 2020 and a little bit before that, when baby boomers were retiring at the rate of 300 a day across the United States. They were taking their knowledge, their experience, their logic, their experiment, everything that they knew on how everything clicks into an organization. And they were replaced by either Xers or actually Xers at that time. Now millennials are into the management and executive positions, but during that time, there was a break into the knowledge bridge into organizations. And we had to think about solutions. So we created knowledge banks, we created boomerang effect where they go and then they bring them back. We brought alumni, we did post-mortem, we did communities of practice. There was a lot of solutions that we did, but at that time AI did not exist. Now we have a game change with AI. So let me go back. So why don't most organizations have institutional logic? So we went through the same problem before and we came up with solutions. So what are the solutions that we are going to do with AI now? There are 3 reasons why we don't have it. One, it's hard work. Codifying your processes requires you to actually understand them. Most executives cannot articulate how they make decisions. They just know. But that intuition doesn't translate into AI instructions. 2, it exposes inefficiency. When you document your processes, you realize how convoluted they are, how many approval layers exist for no reason, and fixes that requires change. 3, it threatens power. In organizations without institutional logic, power comes from being the person who knows it works. Gary's value is that he knows the workaround, but institutional logic threatens that. So organizations resist building it, even though it's the only way AI transformation succeeds. So here is the choice you face. You can be a dabbler or you can be an architect. The dabblers, they focus on efficiency and headcount reduction. They buy off the shelf tools for everyone. They delegate AI to IT. They fear failure and hallucinations. They protect the way we have always done it. They resist building institutional logic because it exposes inefficiency and threatens power. They deploy AI on top of chaos and wonder why it doesn't work. The architects or the humble orchestrators, they focus on velocity and market share expansion. They build bespoke agents for their core DNA. They lead AI from the boardroom. They build in red teaming and error budgeting from day one. They are willing to cannibalize their own successful processes. They ask, if we were starting from scratch today, what would we build? They document the decision-making processes. They codify their institutional logic. They make it explicit, transparent, and scalable. And then they deploy AI. And when they do, the AI works because it has a logical foundation to build on. The humble orchestrators are executives who are technically curious, but not techies. They are willing to cannibalize their own successful products today to avoid being irrelevant tomorrow. They don't protect the way we have always done it. Those are the ones, did you guess, who win. So let's bring this home. Here is what I have learned working with the top 1%. AI is a mirror. It shows you what's broken. 40% of middle management is information brokerage that adds no value. And it's not their fault. You made them that way. You created their job description that way. You put the expectations on them that way. It's not their fault. Post-labor enterprises are real. 200 people down to 12 orchestrators, and they are coming faster than you think. Intelligence is now a commodity. You buy it by the token. The new competitive advantage is institutional logic, your ability to describe how you make decisions. If you can describe your process logically, AI can help you. If you can't, AI will just break your chaos faster. So I come back when I always say, AI is not going to take away your job. It's people with better AI skills that will take the job. The job descriptions as we know them today are changing, as you can see. You can be an orchestrator. You can be an architect, like what I just shared, or you can be a dabbler. It's up to you. But again, the jobs are not going to be taken by AI. So you have to really think which side of the coin you want to be at. The choice is clear. Dabblers protect the old way, deploy AI on chaos, and fail. Architects build institutional logic first, deploy AI on a logical foundation, and succeed. What kind of leader are you? You make that choice. Next episode, what I learned creating 13 episodes about AI leadership. That will be the season 3 finale. But first, if you want to know where your organization stands, if you want to diagnose whether you have institutional logic or institutional chaos, here is what working together looks like. You can take the free Shadow AI assessment. I have the link into the description here. It's 5 minutes. You will get a personalized diagnostic showing whether you have institutional logic or if you are a dabbler or you are an architect. Step number 2, you can book a free 30-minute strategy call. We will talk about what I'm seeing in the top 1% and whether your organization is set up to be a dabbler or an architect. I'll have the calendar link in the description as well. Step number 3, if we are a fit, I will show you how to build the human architecture that make AI transformation actually work using my own brain framework and pilot framework, as well as the 3 zones strategy. This is not about buying tools. This is about rebuilding for what's coming. I'm Sahar Andradi, your AI whisperer. This is AI Cafe Conversation. I will see you Friday for the Forbes article style podcast, short and sweet, and it will also be the end of season 3 or season 3 finale. But as usual, before I go, I will ask you to show me some love. Please like the episode, share it, subscribe, and keep sharing it. If you want me to speak about anything in specific, you can email me at sahar@saharconsulting.com. You can reach me on my LinkedIn profile, Sahar Andradi. You can reach me on my Instagram, Sahar the Reinvent Coach. So I would be happy to hear from you. Until then, until we meet Friday, peace out.
1